While Goku may be the face of Dragon Ball, the series' rich cast of characters each have their own compelling arcs. Today, we're diving into the highs and lows of each Z fighter's journey, pinpointing the sagas that showcase their finest moments and those that left them underutilized. We'll delve into the best and worst storylines for each warrior across Dragon Ball's expansive narrative. Also, a small note is that to be considered in this evaluation, the character must have an active role. This means that sagas like Battle of Gods, where only Goku had a significant part, won't factor into most characters' assessments. Starting off the list, we have Gohan, and I think this is one of the easier ones. His best saga has gotta be the Cell Saga. Watching his character go from a scared kid in the Saiyan Saga to a competent fighter with flashes of brilliance to finally harnessing his potential and beating a main antagonist was very entertaining. This saga features my favorite version of Gohan and brings about a new transformation, so I think this is easily Gohan's best saga. In stark contrast, Gohan's worst saga is Resurrection F. This storyline depicts his dramatic fall from grace, revealing how far he strayed from his former power. Gohan's uncertainty about his ability to transform highlights his decline. In the movie version, he even faces a brief death, while the anime adaptation shows a slightly improved but still underwhelming performance. This saga undeniably represents Gohan's lowest point in the series. Next up is Krillin, an often overlooked character in Dragon Ball. I believe his best performance was in the Namek Saga. In fact, an older video of mine going over the most important characters in each Dragon Ball Z saga, I named Krillin the MVP of this arc. Here's why. Krillin suggests the journey to planet Namek, seeks out Guru for a Dragon Ball, and gains a crucial power boost for himself and Gohan. This upgrade proves vital when facing the Ginyu Force in Frieza. He also leads the effort to find Dende, allowing the Dragon Balls to be used before Vegeta or Frieza realize. Krillin's actions distract Frieza from killing Gohan, Piccolo, and Goku at various points. Finally, his death triggers Goku's transformation into a Super Saiyan, leading to Frieza's defeat. His proactive role and essential contributions throughout make this Krillin's best saga by far. However, determining Krillin's worst saga was challenging. While he's relatively inactive in some Dragon Ball sagas, like the Buu Saga and the Tournament of Power, lack of action alone doesn't mean that's his worst showing. After thinking for a while, I've chosen the Cell Saga. Despite significant screen time, Krillin's contributions are very little. He often watches his friends get beaten or gets beaten himself, which is understandable given the power gap. However, when given a crucial opportunity to end the saga by destroying Android 18, he breaks the remote instead. He not only fails to contribute substantially, but also allows Cell to achieve his perfect form. So, for me, that's why the Cell Saga is his worst saga. Tien's best arc, in my opinion, is clearly the 22nd World Martial Arts Tournament. This saga marks the peak of his importance as a character. We see significant character development as Tien evolves from a misguided fighter influenced by his master to a more complex individual. After revisiting Dragon Ball, I love Tien's growth and how he stood toe-to-toe with the strongest fighters. This made me wish he had maintained more relevance in Dragon Ball Z. Overall, this arc showcases greater development, exciting fights, and undoubtedly Tien's best performance. However, Tien's worst arc was also challenging given his diminishing prominence after the Saiyan Saga. His appearances in Dragon Ball were consistently strong, and he showed well in the Saiyan Saga. He was absent from the Namek Saga and had limited involvement in the Cell Saga, aside from briefly holding off Cell and assisting Gohan, and his role in the Buu Saga felt more like a cameo. After consideration, I've chosen the Tournament of Power as Tien's worst showing. If I recall correctly, Tien was the second fighter eliminated from the tournament, and the manner of his elimination was disappointing. This limited and underwhelming performance makes it, in my view, his least impressive arc. Also, don't forget to like the video and subscribe if you're enjoying so far. Piccolo is a great character with numerous standout moments since his introduction. While his prominence starts to wane after the Cell Saga, he's recently begun to regain his footing. In my view, the top contenders for Piccolo's best saga are the 23rd World Martial Arts Tournament and the Saiyan Saga, with the latter taking the crown. The Saiyan Saga showcases Piccolo's evolution from a villain reluctantly aiding Goku for selfish reasons to a more complex character. As time training Gohan gradually transforms him, revealing a softer side to his personality. This character development is expertly executed, and I believe Piccolo's growth peaks during this arc. Now, for Piccolo's worst saga, I'd say it's Resurrection F. Here, he's stuck fighting Frieza's weak henchmen before getting beat up in both the anime and movie versions. What's worse, Piccolo's death in the anime feels like a cheap copy of his big sacrifice in the Saiyan Saga, but it just doesn't hit the same way. This limited role and weak ending make it Piccolo's least impressive showing, in my opinion. Let's discuss androids 17 and 18. Their best saga is arguably the Tournament of Power. They're both more interesting here than in the Cell Saga, in my opinion, with 17 in particular standing out as a potential MVP for this arc. For their worst showings, it's a bit more complex. 17's worst saga has to be the Cell Saga by default, as it's the only other one he's in for a main timeline. 18's situation is less clear-cut. In the Buu Saga, she doesn't do much besides fighting Goten and Trunks, but I find her way more likable. Looking back at the Cell Saga, 18 has one significant fight with Vegeta, and then her role diminishes. And don't get me started on how many times she could have escaped Cell, but didn't. She starts off menacing, but this fades as the story progresses. If we include future Trunks' timeline 18, then the Buu Saga would be her worst, but if we're focusing on the main timeline, I'm inclined to choose the Cell Saga as her low point. The androids were built up significantly, only to lose their threatening aura quickly and have only one major fight. Goku presents a challenging case for analysis due to his central role in every arc. However, his performance in the Frieza Saga stands out as particularly noteworthy. The saga's initial grimness, established by the struggles of Gohan and Krillin against formidable foes like Frieza, his henchmen, and Vegeta, sets a tense backdrop. Goku's impending arrival introduces a glimmer of hope to this dire situation. I also loved watching Goku train as he was headed to Namek, and when he finally shows up, it's pure hype. Taking down the Ginyu Force and squaring off against Frieza, all while oozing confidence. Even when facing adversity, Goku's presence remains captivating. This build-up culminates in his transformation into a Super Saiyan and ultimate victory over Frieza. Regarding character development, while some argue that Goku remains static, the Frieza Saga offers clear evidence of his growth. The events of this arc push Goku to new limits, both physically and emotionally. Now, finding Goku's worst arc is trickier. After thinking for a bit, I landed on two contenders: Resurrection F and the Universe 6 Saga. In Resurrection F, Goku gets a bit too cocky and lets his guard down. The Universe 6 Saga, while intriguing in concept, lacks the high stakes that are typical in Dragon Ball arcs. It's also arguably the point where the portrayal of Goku as less intelligent becomes more pronounced. I might be a bit biased since these are some of my least favorite arcs, so let me know what you pick. But if I had to pick, I'd say the Universe 6 Saga is Goku's low point. At least in Resurrection F, he learns from his slip-up and comes out on top. Vegeta is next, and I think his best moments are arguably split between the Saiyan Saga and the Buu Saga. The Saiyan Saga presents Vegeta as a formidable villain, showcasing his ruthlessness and creating a lasting impression. However, the Buu Saga is where his character development truly shines. I'm inclined to favor the Buu Saga as Vegeta's pinnacle. This arc delves deep into his inner conflicts, revealing layers to his personality that were previously hidden. His temporary regression to villainy, driven by his desire to fight Goku, sets the stage for significant growth. Vegeta's speeches in this saga are particularly memorable and impactful. His sacrifice is poignant and resonates strongly with each viewing. When he finally puts aside his pride to fuse with Goku, it marks a crucial turning point in his character development. Throughout this saga, Vegeta demonstrates not just physical strength, but also strategic thinking. He plays key roles in formulating plans to defeat Buu, from buying time for Goku to suggesting the use of the Spirit Bomb. His recognition of Goku's superiority at the end of the saga is a powerful moment of self-realization and acceptance. I think Cell Saga Vegeta is great, no doubt, but as Vegeta becomes a reoccurring character and we see his highs and lows, it makes you feel for him a lot more, and I think his development in the Buu Saga is so poetic and well done that every time he's on screen, he elevates it for me. As for Vegeta's weakest showing, Resurrection F stands out. In this arc, he's sidelined for much of the action, reduced to watching Goku fight. Even when he gets his chance to shine, it's short-lived, with his moment of triumph ultimately stolen away. And lastly, we have Yamcha. Sure, he's often the butt of jokes, but he's had his cool moments too. Yamcha's high point? I'd say it's the 22nd World Martial Arts Tournament. Here, we see a tougher, more serious Yamcha. His beef with Tien is pretty intense, and their fight is way better than people give it credit for. Definitely Yamcha's best fight. The arc's conclusion, where Yamcha and Tien overcome their differences and form a friendship, adds depth to both characters. Now, for Yamcha's low point, there are plenty to choose from, but I'm going with the Cell Saga. Yeah, I know he dies to a Cyberman in the Saiyan Saga, and everyone jokes about it, but the first time you see it, it's actually kind of sad. In the Cell Saga, though, things really go downhill for Yamcha. When Frieza shows up on Earth, he's the only one acting scared, while everyone else is ready to fight. Then, Vegeta steals his girlfriend, the androids nearly kill him, and after that, he's mostly just hanging around doing nothing. In the final fight with Cell, he gets beaten up by a Cell Jr. like it's nothing. The only good things he does are carrying Goku when he's sick and helping Gohan in the final beam clash. But that's about it. After this, Yamcha pretty much stops fighting altogether. So yeah, the Cell Saga is where Yamcha really hits rock bottom. In the end, we've seen how these arcs shaped each character's development. These contrasting arcs not only highlight the growth and challenges faced by each character, but also demonstrate the depth and complexity of the Dragon Ball series, showing how even supporting characters can leave a lasting impact on the story and its fans. If you enjoyed the video, leave a like and subscribe. Also, check out my other Dragon Ball videos. See you there.